We will just spend a couple of minutes, 1 or 2 minutes, and stabilizing ourselves in the truth, what is very obvious. So you can keep your eyes open or close your eyes. Right now, just in this room and even online, we are very clear that we are here for some time. This call, this class, it has a start and it has an end. And there's no need to get worried or disturbed. It is very obvious that it starts and it ends. And as we broaden our intellect, we can observe the role that we are playing. This role that I call me and I. We use the right language. And this is not me. This is not I. I am separate. I am the living soul. And this living soul is invisible. And the role is visible. And it also has a start and an end. Is that a problem? If tomorrow the role were to end, it's not a problem. Because we are very clear from the first second that I, the living star, I am immortal. And I belong to my home. My home is beyond chaos, beyond sound. Even as we hear the words, let's go into the experience of these words. And the home of the soul is the home of God as well. God resides here. The ocean of peace, ocean of love, He resides here. And for a very short time, I, the living star from the family of God, I come on the world stage for a short time, and then I go back to my home. So let's spend the next 1 hour in this awareness that we are here for a short time. So enjoying every moment as it comes. Shanti, thank you. So I think what we'll do is we'll watch a short video. This is like an experience of someone, near-death experience. Someone had a near-death experience, and so they are sharing this, what they experienced. So it will be nice for us to watch and listen to this experience. So can we play? Yeah, this is about a person who fell in the river and he was drowning. and then he was about to die basically, and so he's sharing what is happening when he's drowning. Yeah.
And at this moment, everything is screaming in my body. I'm dying. I finally admit that I'm dying. And then all of a sudden there's a voice in my head, and it's a voice that I remember, but I don't know who it is. And the voice says, Andy, you need to stop and rest for a while. And then I'm talking to myself in my head, and I'm saying, are you crazy? I got to get up. I need at least one breath of air. That's all I ask, is one breath of air. And the voice says to me, Andy, you really need to rest. So just relax and let go. And I said, I can't do that. And the voice says again, you need to let go. And so I say to the voice, okay, do you promise that if I let go, I'll be able to get to the top? And the voice says to me, if you let go, everything will be fine. I said, okay, you promise? And the voice says, yes, I promise. So then I said, okay, I'll let go. And the moment that the word go formed in my mind, I popped out of my body, and in what I call a moment of no time, I'm at one point I'm in my body, and at the next point I'm in this tunnel. And I don't remember going to the tunnel. It was just, now I'm in my body, now I'm in the tunnel. And in the tunnel, I'm warm, I'm happy, I can breathe again. I'm just filled with the joy and unconditional love. It was so stark. It was such a change from complete terror to complete ultimate ecstasy in a minute of no time. And I'm just so completely happy. I look down and I can see a body, and I'm saying, it's funny, I can see that because it was dark down there. And I look and, yep, that's my body. I don't care. I look, and I didn't care. At the moment that I saw my body at the bottom of the lake, I didn't care about my life. I didn't care about being on earth, because I knew I was home. And then I turned in the other direction, and now I'm looking at a spot of light. And the light is not very big, but it is so bright it should be burning my retinas. And I'm saying, wow, now that's a bright light, but it doesn't hurt. And now I feel myself being drawn like a magnet, like a giant magnet. The magnet's pulling me through the tunnel, and I'm starting to get closer to the light. And then all of a sudden, in a moment of no time, I'm no longer in the tunnel. Now I'm in the middle of a giant sphere about the size of a soccer coliseum, huge. And I'm hovering in the middle of this ball, in the inside of the ball. And around it, all 360 degrees, everywhere I look, are little motion picture screens of all of my lives and of all of the things that I'm doing. And the light is next to me. I don't see it, but I feel it, and I know it's there. And the light and I start to communicate about all of these events in all of my lives. And I could see them all, and nothing was confusing. I understood everything. I could understand all the lifetimes. I could understand all the things it is. And when I would focus on any one particular screen, I would relive it. Only now, as I'm reliving it knowing the feelings and the effect that I have on the people that I'm communicating with in that scene. So if I'm with my family and talking to them about something, I know what they're thinking as I'm talking. So that, because nothing's hidden, nothing is unknown, everything is transparent. And I go from all my various lives, from being female, from being on other planets, on and on. And it seemed like I was there for months. But obviously in Earth time, I was only drowned for somewhere between 10 and 15 minutes. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here saying this. So, and then as I'm looking at these things, finally, in another moment of no time, now I'm not in a sphere, I'm back in the tunnel. And now I'm really close to the light. I'm as close to the light as as I am to the screen on my computer. And I'm standing there, and the light says, Andy, I love you. And I'm impressed because it knows my name. And then the light says, Andy, we love you. And when the light says, we love you, the whole background and the light kind of disappear. And now there are thousands and millions and trillions of other lights, just like me. And they say in one chorus, welcome home, Andy. And at that point in time, I was absorbed into the light. I became the light. I wasn't greater than the light. I wasn't less than the light. I was a piece, a holographic piece of the light. And it's the most fantastic feeling that as a human, I could ever imagine. It's indescribable. And at that moment, I knew everything. What do you mean, Andy? I mean, I knew everything. There was nothing I did not know.
That was just the experience. And so this is the experience we can have, we can create consciously, and that is meditation. What he talks about. Did you understand the whole thing? He was talking about becoming a light, completely becoming a light, being with light, and the entire home, their home, and everyone was light, just specks of light. And this is the experience, how he was saying that he could see, when he was close to the light, he could see all his different costumes and what happened there, and he just knew everything, and it's the most wonderful experience. So yeah, that was just the video. um, and there is another short video, which is how when we spend a life in one of the phases, like we spoke about phases, and we are talking about the um, ego, the mind with ego, a lot of identifications. And so what happens when you leave one costume and take another? So do you think the phase changes? Will the phase change leaving the costume? No. No? And even the identities, if I am leaving the costume with lot of identities, let's say if I'm leaving this costume and okay, for last 50 years, I spend time looking at my bank balance, every 3 hours. And so I go to net banking and check my, account and see some dollars there, and then every 3 hours, just like an exercise. And we do this for 20 years. Someone does it for 20 years. And when they leave the body, what is making them take this decision and making them see this account and bank balance again and again? It's the identity with money. So I am so and so, and I am so wealthy, or I have such and such. And that also, so the level of bondages, and this also tells in which phase the soul is. So it's a merchant phase, lot of bondages, and hence it likes to check, that sort of thing. And so when it leaves the body, everyone is telling that remember God and remember, take the name, chant the name of God and all that. But in the last minutes, what happens is wherever I have the deepest identities, obviously we can't help but remember that. That's why it is said that the final thoughts before leaving the body, they actually decide the destiny. They have an impact, very strong impact on the destiny. And so if someone has been deeply attached to wealth in this example, then when they leave the body, when the soul is leaving the body, the thought is that all my money is gone, or I have no money, because that's the sudden experience. If I'm attached to something and I'm now leaving it, then the very strong thought is filled with a lot of emotions. This thought has a lot of energy, and the thought is that all my money is left behind and I don't have money, this sort of thought. And this has an impact on the next life. And what it does is that it creates a life of complete lack of money. So, you know, in where the colleges and the universities and the research institutes where they study reincarnation and they study people taking different costumes and their journey, and they take them back to their previous birth or past life regression, things like that. There are some common things that have been noticed in all the studies, and one of the common thing is that someone who is very rich, they 100% become poor, because we can't help but create an identity. While you have something, if you don't have spiritual knowledge, then whatever I have, I will create an identity on that. And so in 100% of the cases, person who had lot of wealth, next life, they are in extreme poverty. Someone has an attachment to relationships, kids or certain, some relationship, then leaving the body, the final thought is, I am leaving this. I don't have children, I don't have whatever, relationship. And in their next life, they have the lack of that particular relationship. And so it's a very, very profound thing that what we do in our entire life, we can't just get away from that, in a second. It actually carries on, and it becomes a memory, and it becomes such a strong habit, emotional habit, that even when you're leaving the body, then, and how many people actually know when they are going to leave the body? No, it's very rare. Final thoughts are of how we spent our life, in which identities. And so a spiritually wise soul, moment to moment, day after day, you have the thought, everyone is good, everything is good, I'm just a visitor, I have everything, I'm perfect, I'm full. And so such a soul, when leaves the body, the thoughts are, I am perfect, because their identity is not based on this, but the spiritual identity. The spiritual understanding is that we are all full, complete. And so when such a soul leaves a body, then they create, perfection. They invite, like we said yesterday, in the whichever phase we are, we become deserving to invite those situations. And so a soul leaving the body with these final thoughts, and we can't make someone think this. It has to come from within, those thoughts. And so that's why they have a good life, in that sense, even though they don't want a good life, but you can't help but invite those sort of situations and relationships and all of that. So this is another video about attachments. Yeah, this video is about attachments, and yes, so let's watch this.
What we said was correct. People do, in fact, go into this other reality. But we come now to the dying process itself, which is enormously interesting and important. And we all need to learn this. In fact, we should be taught it in school. And the way that dying, I think, is, it's like this. Deathbed visitors come, fine. Then, at some moment, you realize you're going to die. And it hits you hard. We're not coming back, guys. This isn't a getting well process. It's a dying process. And that then leaves you in a very difficult position, because you've never come across that before. You've always had some control over something, you now don't. And so you have to start giving everything up. This is absolutely fundamental. You have to give up the fact that you're going to go on living. You have to give up your wife. You have to give up your cat and your dog. You have to give up your children, your family. You have to give up your house and your job. You've got to give up everything. And if you don't, you remain attached. Now, attachment is the most difficult thing when you're dying. If you could give everything up, you'd have a very smooth transition. you go from this pre-transition where you're attached to transition, which is a sort of intermediate one, to post-transition. And in post-transition, you in fact have given everything up, and you go more and more into the spiritual domain.
So we will just come to today's session. We are going to look at some of the secrets of the Confluence Age. And this is the home of all the souls. This is the time cycle. This is the world stage where it is under the influence of time. And we know that there is an entry here. And as we said, there is also an exit from this world stage. And we saw the different cycles, different seasons, different ages within this world cycle. Right now, which age are we in right now? What do you think?
Iron Age.
Iron Age and Kali Yuga. And those who are, working to remove, attachments, it will be said they are in the age of awakening. And this age of awakening, we have to be really deserving, for us to reach this point. It is there for everyone. It is, right here, but we may experience that we are in Kali Yuga because in the Iron Age, because we are busy in creating attachments and not interested in anything else apart from just continuing with that party and cake scenario. So this is the age of awakening, and as we saw, this is the morning time, and Iron Age is the night time, and between night and morning is the age of awakening. And after this age comes morning. Precisely. So what do you think actually happens here? So we will look at the secrets. So what actually happens here, that from night, someone from night can shift into morning. From demon phase, from being demonic, from operating in this, with this energy that takes sorrow, gives sorrow, someone can completely transform into deities, give happiness and take happiness, that sort of mindset. And so this is a huge transformation, from night to day. And this happens actually in this age of awakening. And so what do you think actually happens here? What makes demons same soul who is demonic, wants to give sorrow, takes sorrow, and they, turn into, giving happiness, taking happiness, no matter what you say to them, they just take joy from that, take happiness from that. What do you guess happens in between?
Changing into Brahman.
Changing into Brahmin phase, yes. And anything else?
To gain the knowledge.
Gaining the knowledge, yes. Yeah. Coming into this Brahmin phase means that taking the knowledge, gaining knowledge, becoming knowledgeable. And this entire age of awakening, this is where the soul gets the injection of knowledge. Souls get the injection of knowledge. And this is precisely what happens. As soon as you get the knowledge, a child who is crying, he's sitting in childcare and he's crying, but give him this knowledge that your home is different and you have all the toys that you want here. You have all the toys at home, and it will just take 1 minute that we go back to our home. Just a minute, and then he stops crying. If you give him this knowledge, then there is no need for him to cry and get attached to the toys and not want to leave. He's happily he can leave. Very easily he can leave. So this is the injection of knowledge. And so who gives this injection? Who is giving this injection? Yeah,
Nature.
nature gives the injection. Yeah, nature actually gives, pain.
Pain.
Still, that doesn't make, us knowledgeful, because we tend to become, not some, actually, in most cases, people become more, angry and more, you know, hurt and disappointed and blaming, even more, that starts. So nature's message is not taken in the right way. Any reflections from online?
God, God Himself has to come and give this knowledge.
Okay. Any other ideas from here? No? Yes. And so we do make this statement that the one who is in the truth, the one who is always in truth, um, we make this big statement that God actually comes in this world cycle. He comes in this world cycle, and he gives the injection of knowledge, because the one who is always in truth, only he has the power to bring the souls, because everyone else, all the souls, even the deities, even the greatest of souls, they are Sitas, and Sita, sooner or later crosses the line. With your own power, with your own effort, we can postpone crossing the line and being in our own truth. But somehow, when the whole crowd is going in a direction, there is not a single soul who can who can just stay in this truth. They do fall down, not even a single soul. And so hence there is a difference. There are many great souls, Mahatma, they say Mahatma, Mahatma, it's all plural. So great souls, even the deities, they're all plural. Saints, teachers, gurus, but God is never plural, no, it's singular, one. Every religion will say is one. They show one finger, it is one. And we make this big statement that God Himself actually comes, and He is just like Andy was saying. He's not a big light, small light, just a bright, point of light, just a bright light, not bright that it hurts your eyes, but it's a bright light, just like the soul. How does this happen? How he's able to come here, and this is the secret that we want to discover here. So we will quickly look at the prophets. Prophets are like the messengers of God. They are like the messengers. And we will look at some prophets like Jesus Christ, was a prophet. Gautam Buddha, all the prophets, once they leave, after they leave, a religion is formed, scriptures are written on what they said. And so these are all the prophets, they give a message. In this part of the cycle, which is the copper age, when souls actually, cross the line and they just start, going down. This is the time when prophets come. This is the time of prophets coming. These are souls who come from the home and they come here and they can see that the the souls that were present in Satyug, the souls that were present in the Silver Age, they are actually falling down. And so these prophets come and they tell them the truth, because they are new souls and they have just arrived from their home. So the memory of home and the memory of who we are is very fresh. And so they come here and they deliver that fresh memory that they have. They've been in the home and they just come here and they have a fresh memory of how it's like. And and the travelers that have been traveling for a long time, the powerful souls, they are actually in a different phase. They are degrading in their own pace. They are creating attachments and getting confused. But the new souls come, they give the message, and they continue on their journey. So, in the case of, there are many, Vivekananda and many prophets and messengers we can talk about. But let's take one of the examples. There is a common phenomena in all the prophets. And the common phenomena is that, for example, in the case of Jesus or Gautam Buddha, so there is a person named Gautam and there's another person named Jesus. They are born, in a normal manner and they start to live their life, and nothing great is happening. They have a family and just like everyone else. But at the age of between 30 to 35, 30 to 35, something different happens. So this is Jesus and he has a this is the soul of Jesus. And Gautam Buddha, had a family, was married, and so has the soul of Gautam. And then around 30 to 35, when the body is quite developed and they has some experience of life, what happens is a particular transformation takes place internally, and they become more curious about what's happening outside. So they are questioning life and some sort of contemplation and reflections. And at that time, between 30 to 35, in the case of all prophets, an absolutely new soul, from the soul world, a completely new soul actually comes and enters the body. So this is like two souls now in one body. And for a very short time, this happens for a very short time, and this new soul is very pure, 100% pure, has zero attachments, zero ego, no identities. And this new soul is actually, the soul of Christ. This is Buddha. So Gautam is separate and Buddha is separate. And so this new soul, why this has to happen in such a way, this is actually the messenger. So it's not Gautam or Jesus, but it's the new soul that comes here to give the message. And the message is very clear, message of non-violence, message of who I am. Christ came and he said that I am the Son of God. No, I'm not God. God is one, God is light, but I am the Son of God. Same way Buddha, he gave the principles of non-violence. And this is all, the entire message is around being soul conscious, leaving body consciousness and becoming soul conscious. And so this happens for a certain time. And they go through, Gautam and Jesus, they go through a lot of transformation and they start to think of what is happening and why. And they also are listening to what Christ is saying. They are practicing what Christ is saying. So it is like Jesus himself is listening to what Christ is saying. And this happens for us some time. And then this soul, enters a womb and a normal journey starts. But before the ordinary way of, how souls come, and they come in a womb, and then 9 months they stay there, and then they come out as a child. For prophets, this is not the case. Because, why do you think why messengers, messengers of truth, messengers of God, they don't, they don't spend 9 months in a womb. They directly come into a body. Do you think there is any reason for this?
Because if they come as a child, like other environment can like
Influence.
influence the original nature of the
Original
soul.
nature of the soul, yes. And the environment can affect the original nature of the soul. Absolutely right. Even in that 9 months, there is a lot of absorbing that happens. And then after that, when it's time for them to give the message, it will take about 3 to 5 years to actually start speaking. And a 5-year-old child giving a message, we all know how seriously it will be.
Nobody.
Seriously, it will be taken. And so by the time, one is 5 years old, they they say that, for a child, he remembers a lot of things till the age of 5, and after that, previous, all the, previous memories from previous life and previous birth, all that starts to fade, and he creates new attachments, because he's told every day, this is mummy, this is papa, this is dadi, and every day he's listening to this, and so he loses that, Initially, a child, when he's born, you will see that he goes into everyone's arms and, very happy. But then after a while, you have to teach him, these are strangers, this is mummy, and this is. So after 2, 3 years, he will only look for mother. He will only look for father, when he cries. So if they go through that environment, then the truth, the purity is lost. So that's why they take a body which is already developed, and has some experience, is connected to the community, has some experience. So in the case of Gautam, he had a family, he had good life, he was a king. So he heard a lot of problems and he knew, a lot of things. Same with the case of Jesus, same with Vivekananda and all the other, prophets. They were quite not spiritual from the first second. In fact, in a lot of cases, it's quite opposite, like Tulsi Das and all. It's quite opposite, but then they eventually um, become interested. So they stay here for some time, for a few years, give the message, and then they are ready to leave. Their task is done. And so this is the scenes of drama. This is just the roles, different roles. So even at the time of Jesus Christ, when he was on the cross, he was on the cross, and people were throwing stones and whatnot. He was very, relaxed, and he was saying, the soul was saying, the soul of Christ, he was saying that, forgive them, God, they don't know what they are doing, forgive all of them. And then the soul left. And in a few, just a few minutes later, this is all in the Old Testament. When you talk to a real Christian, they will tell you this. In just few minutes later, when this soul had left, um, the words of Jesus completely changed, and he started saying, why have you left me? Why have you left me? Now I'm alone. So people noted that there was a difference, in 5 minutes, from being, forgive them, they don't know what they're doing, to suddenly feeling a little bit helpless, a little bit worried, like an ordinary energy. And so people in the Old Testament, it is written that Christ had left. So the soul of Jesus, even he started calling out to Christ. Um, so this is, the messengers. Is this clear? Any questions from you? So in the world cycle, this is the special role, a different, slightly different role for prophets and messengers. So in the case of Supreme Being, to, as everyone shared, to give this injection of knowledge, to tell how the world cycle is, this is a stage, and your home and everything. So this is a similar thing that happens in the case of God Himself. So, messengers of God and God Himself. So, after a time, many good souls come, many pure souls come, right from this copper age to iron age, and they help in some manner. But this downfall, nobody is able to remove Ravan from the core, because there is an element of Ravan in everyone. So messengers keep coming, and hence the main, main thing is that for us it is not important to be good. Most important thing for us to be is be in truth. So being in truth is more important than being good, because good is very relative. Nobody feels that we are not good. Everyone, if you talk to anyone, they will all say, even criminals say, we did it for some good reason. So God says it's more important to be in truth. If you are in truth, you are 100%, you will are on the good path. But if you're not in truth and then you feel like doing good things, it's not absolutely correct. So in the case of God, the Supreme Being, similar things happens. There is here also, there is a man. The name of this man is, in the world, he is known as Dada Lekhraj by the community. And he's around 60 years old, and he's a diamond merchant. He's a diamond jeweler and very wealthy. He has a family, has kids, and he has a huge business. And this is before the partition of India and Pakistan. This is around 1936. And so at this time in 1936, he is reading, he has 12 gurus. And so he's a huge devotee of Lakshmi Narayan, and he reads Gita. And so life is good, life is continuing. And around this time of 1936, in the world cycle, it is the beginning of Confluence Age. It is the beginning of Diamond Age, which is the short time, the beginning of Brahma Muhurat, Age of Awakening. And no one knows that, it is only the drama, as per the drama, that is the scenes that have to be played on the stage. And suddenly, Dada Lekhraj, he's having a normal day, and then he starts having some visions. So the first vision he has is of massive destruction, and this is before the World War One. And there is like huge destruction, at a large scale. Nothing is left behind. People, houses, lot of natural calamity. And for any man to have that, any one of us, suddenly if you have those sort of visions, and even in a dream, if you have a bad dream, it is so real that the experience carries on for some time. And so this is not a dream, but with open eyes, you are having this sort of vision. And so instantly he has this very strong vairag, sort of, detachment. But detachment is, a different thing, but vairag is absolutely disinterest, not interested. And he thinks that what is the value of what I'm doing? There's no value. And still confused, but he's completely not interested in business. And suddenly everything he's questioning, who am I? What am I doing here? And same time, his business, very profitable, but he goes to his business partner and he says, I don't want to continue, just give me my whatever my portion is, and I want to stop, I don't want to do business anymore, I'm going to retire. And he starts practicing, he starts thinking to himself, who am I? And he starts practicing, I am a soul. I'm this energy, I'm not this body, even the body will die. And so he starts thinking in this way, whether he's sleeping or awake, he's just having these thoughts. And after a certain time, after few months later, he has another vision, and this vision is very different. This vision is of the home, the home of all the souls, and a beautiful place, and all the souls in the image of dots, just tiny lights, and they start coming on this world stage. And the stage is so beautiful, the scenery and the landscape, and all the souls are coming and they are becoming deities. And so he has a vision of golden age. And so now it's makes some sense to him that it is not the end of the world, but it is the end of Kali Yuga that is going to come. And he, with his vision, he feels like, okay, the souls still keep coming, but it's a different world, it's a different age. And then he gets this message that, you know, this is the time that is about to come. And just when he's having these sort of visions, even others in that area, in that community, close to neighbors and other people, they also are having similar experiences, some image of golden age, and all this is happening. And so they start meeting together. And when they start meeting together, it is everyone can feel that it is not, Dada Lekhraj, the person we know, he is not talking. It is a different energy, not very clear, but they feel it's a different energy. And this different energy, this is the Supreme Being, and he is giving some messages about the time cycle. He comes into this body and he gives the message that all of you are souls. You are not the body. You are peaceful beings. You are happy beings. All that we discussed in the 10-day sessions, the Supreme Being, every day for few minutes, for few hours, he will give this message. And all of the people in that community, they would start practicing it, that I'm a guest here, this is just a world stage, this is not, this is just a role. And they started practicing. And gradually, God starts to say that, I have come from the land beyond, and I'm just here to purify all the souls, and all of you have to return home. Not only you who are sitting here, but everyone in the world has to return home. And slowly, he's revealing one by one the secrets. And this is what is called everything that he spoke at that time in 1936, that is called Murli. So it was written down and it was taped as well. In that voice, it was taped. And that is what is studied at every brahmakumaris center. So it is just 2 pages back and forth. And it has the same Murli, and it has the same message that you are a soul, and different techniques, God. And the, you may have heard the word Baba. And we use the word Baba for God, the light, because this is the, we can say mother or whatever word, but he himself says that, I'm the father of all the souls and I have come to give you the inheritance, because in the world that we live in, it is the father who passes his property. And so he uses that sort of same, examples, because if it is the language, it's not a language of different planet, but it's the same language that we understand and we speak. So even if the Supreme Being were to come and sit in this body, then he will use the language that is, common for this body. So it will not be different words, but the same words. But the people who are sitting in front, they will feel the difference, that it is not, the sister talking, but it's a different energy. And so it's a very clear difference. And so one of the things, the Supreme Being says is that this age of confluence, before golden age, before morning of this world cycle starts, this age of confluence, this age of awakening will be here for 100 years. No, so in 1936, he said this will only be for 100 years. And in this 100 years, every soul on this world stage, sooner or later, will get the message that we have to go home. And in these 100 years, there will be 3 ways of ending of Kali Yuga. One of the way is wars, you know national, international wars. Another thing is natural calamities. Yeah, natural calamities, natural disasters. And the third thing is war, which is based on religion, religious rites. And so he says that many souls will get the message, by themselves, because when the Supreme Being has come, every soul has to get the message. And so he also says that these 3 things, the riots, the wars, and the natural disasters, these will also help in this time of awakening, and they will also bring the souls back to their spiritual truth. So knowledge is working on one end, and also these natural phenomena, and all two will help in these 100 years to spread this message to absolutely every soul that we have to now undo all the bondages, undo all the identities, and we have to be ready to depart, ready to go back to our home. And so this is the time, this is the time of becoming a Brahmin and really undoing all the bondages. So from 1936 to 1950, they stay in Pakistan, in Karachi, and in 1950, in May, in the month of May, another Murli comes, and Baba says that now you move to India. Now you don't have to stay here, you move to India. So in from 1936 to 1950, they stay in Pakistan, they stay in Karachi for 14 years, completely, everyone there is around 350 of them, completely disconnected from the war that is happening, things that are happening outside, and their life is absolutely smooth. For 14 years, they just practice that I am a soul, practicing this soul consciousness, because it is one thing to hear this, but we know how hard it is to actually experience it. So for 14 years, they stay there, day and night, they practice, they wake up every day in the morning, before 4, and they start this practice that I am a soul, I am a soul. And this is on the instructions of what is coming from the Murli. So Murli is 1 hour in the morning. Baba comes, he gives the directions for the day, and then he goes back. And so this continues for 14 years. After this, once they come to India, Mount Abu, from there, the Murlis are to spread the message. And so after that, many centers in India, the message starts to spread in India, and now it is spread in 137 countries. So in 137 countries, in every language, in every religion, souls are coming. They practice becoming a soul, and they are, working on themselves to undo all the bondages. So it's happening in 137 countries, and equal ratio of men and women coming. But it is wonderful that we are in this time and we have this opportunity. So it is good to experiment with what Murli is, and sometimes, because all of us, when we start the journey, it is an experiment. No one is going to 100%, immediately have the faith. That happens for some, but for most, it starts with an experiment. Let me just try what it is. And so once you start experimenting, there is no compulsion, um, there is no rules or regulations. It is just once you start listening to your own father, there is something, there is a connection that you feel, not instantly but gradually. You will know that who is this speaking. This cannot be a ordinary man, this is not a human being. It's a very clear experience that each one has. So um, this is the secret of the time that we are right now, that we are in right now. and lot of changes are going to happen internally, externally, and it is happening. After this, from after 1936, World War One happened, and then all of this. World War One or two? Two. Yeah. World War Two happened, with the Japan and the huge war. And so World War Two happened after this. And many things, many, many things. So just another last point. In 1969, this is the time when Dada Lekhraj, whom um, Baba, the Supreme Being, he said, this is the, right now, all of you are doing the task of creation. You are, destroying the ego, and you are creating um, a new identity based on truth. And so this task itself is called the task of Brahma. No, Brahma is the creator. And so that's why he says that all of you are brahmakumaris or brahmakumars, because you are creating. You are creating a new spiritual identity based on truth, based on the principle of truth. And this is how you create a new age. No, you create the age of truth. You create Satya. And so Dada Lekhraj, through whom he's giving the message, he's just using the body, and Dada Lekhraj himself is the student. He does not know anything that is being said. He is 100% practicing what he is hearing, just like everyone else, just like us. He was also listening and practicing. And so he is named Brahma, and all the others are Brahma Kumars and Kumaris. So in 1969, Brahma, he becomes old and the soul leaves the body. And so all the Murlis from that time till 1969, those are the Murlis that we revise. Those are the Murlis that we study. And alongside the Murlis, you get new insights, and every time, Baba gives very clear messages of what is going to happen, what is the effort that you need to make in the current time. So all the Murlis that we are studying, they are from this time. So Murli is, as I said, Murli is like a 4-page directions from God, and it is a message of knowledge. No, it is what the word we used was injection of knowledge. So Murli is the injection of knowledge. And so it is not music, it is not a sound, but it is knowledge. No? And so right from the beginning, Murli starts with the word Om Shanti, and Baba explains the meaning of Om Shanti, that I am peaceful, you are all peaceful beings. And he always starts the Murli with, sweet children, and he starts saying sweet children, Om Shanti, and then there is a message. And so the message is based on truth. And so the message is of who we are, what is this, what are we doing here, how to continue to play the role, but with the right mindset, with the right approach. Play the role. Baba always says that 8 hours you do your job. Don't leave your household. Do your job. Another 8 hours. Um, leave it for eating, sleeping, all those sort of things. And then the rest of the 8 hours, manage your day in such a way that you spend some time in, remembering and practicing who you are. So he says, whilst doing everything, whilst cooking, eating, practice. So every day there are new directions on how to practice being a soul. How to practice, how to actually live that. And we can at the centers, we have Murli classes every day in the morning. And for those who can, those who are unable to join in the morning, we have Murli class in the evening on Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. And so it is at the same time. We will send this in writing. But every Monday and Friday it is in Hindi, and Tuesday it is in English. And so the Murli is read, explained in a very, nice manners, and we have discussion, and people come. So we all study together. So it is a very nice opportunity. You can start, listening to the Murli in the morning and also in the evening. Those who cannot join in the morning, they can come in the evening. And so for all the people who are joining from different parts, they can also join all 3 days. So we will set up the link and we will set up everything, and Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. So it will be in person and face to face as well. In our spiritual journey, we are here to support the journey 100%. In anyone who is interested in being soul conscious, we are all students here. No one is the teacher, absolutely no one is the teacher. There is only one teacher who has spoken the Murli, and that is the teacher for everyone. Even the students here who are here from 1936, there are some students here who are studying still, and they have been here right from 1936. They are still studying, and studying what Baba is saying, what is the knowledge that he is giving. So we are here to support the journey, and we are students ourselves. There are so many examples and variety of students that are present here, from every nationality, from every religion, from every situation, age group, and whatnot. So there are many examples who will inspire you to continue on the journey. So um, yeah, so we are 100% here. Anytime you can reach out to us. There is a phone number, email, and those who can in person, you are 100% welcome to take the benefit. Yes. So what is the question about food?
Kindly put some light on importance of sattvic food.
Yeah. Um, Yeah, this is a question that we will probably, take later on. But as we are, in Murli classes, we can discuss this. But as we are saying, we are on this journey of being sattvic inside, which means that coming in truth, then it is just one of the things that can um, make this process a little bit easier, make this process a little bit fast, so to say. So it is not compulsory, it's not mandatory, but anyone who can follow a sattvic diet, it just becomes the process becomes a little bit faster. No? Because we are practicing that I am a soul, and then when we eat something that is in a different energy, different vibration, then for me to come back to this stage of I'm a soul, I'm a pure soul, it just takes a little bit time. It takes a lot more effort. So sattvic means based on the principle of truth. So no tamasic, no lower vibration foods. So that will definitely help. As a Brahmin, it will help to be on the journey of stabilizing as a Brahmin. But it's not compulsory, it's not mandatory, it's for those who want to experiment. And so before we finish, would just like to again emphasize that it's a beautiful journey that, and many congratulations for completing the journey. And now it's just a matter of, continuing in this journey and making it interesting, and creating more experiences. When we spoke about this train, yesterday, this train which was going to, um, fall off the cliff, one of the things is that every time, there is this party going on, it is like somehow, as per nature or as per drama, God, sends an angel. Sends an angel in the sense a soul who is practicing that, is on the journey. And so, their task is to just let you know that this is, what is happening, this is what is going on. You can also step out of the train. And there is a new train that is coming, and we can sit on this next train. So we can go back to the platform. But what happens when we ignore this? Then God has to send another angel. No, but He will keep sending someone to, for everyone, for all the souls, to really um, experience what the truth is and step out of this train, which is completely going in a different direction. So it is our choice to listen, to that message and to that signal. And hopefully see you in the future. See you. Retreats and the classes that we have in the evening, what they do is they just create an environment. It's like, um, if you're practicing something alone, and that too in a very different environment, how it is once we step out, a lot of identities take over. It's easy for those identities to just take over. But when we come to a place which is dedicated to that study, for 1 hour, if we spend some time, it creates an environment. There is a difference when we um, actually spend some dedicated, concentrated, focused time. So it is like, quality time. It is not mixed with a lot of things. So it helps. So similarly, in a retreat, that environment is such that for a half a day or for some hours, you can just leave everything behind, and it always sparks it ignites something. And it's easier to, once it's ignited, it is easier to take care of it rather than trying to ignite something alone. So once it's on, then you can just take care of it. Make sure how that it doesn't, the light doesn't get dim, what to do if it's getting dim, how to brighten it. So all those sort of techniques and tricks we will discover in the classes and also in the retreat. So all of you are welcome to, join. So Om Shanti. Thank you. Thank you.